What's going on? It's your man, Miles C, baby. 219 TV. And we coming back at you with another one. Cheats for Life, Midwest Connected, you know what I mean? And on this one right here, baby, we talk about all the latest topics and trends through a Midwest perspective and a Midwest lens. You feel what I'm saying? Just to give you a perspective on what we thinking on this one right here, we going to talk about your man, Grant Cardone. Now, if anybody know, I've been in the tune. If it's got something to do with some money, we on it. You know what I mean? I've been listening to Grant for some years. You know what I mean? And Grant made a statement, man. Grant made a statement speaking on how he gets the black dollar, how he blackballing. You know what I mean? And on this episode of blackballing, because that's what I call it. Anytime we talk about black money, you heard it here first, baby. We're going to call it blackballing. They ain't keeping us out. You know what I'm saying? That's how you using our money to get in. You know what I'm saying? So your man, Grant Cardone, he was on your girl, Laura Trump show, who ain't a Trump supporter, but we're just bringing you the info. This was the show he was sitting on one of Trump's, I guess his Trump daughter-in-law. But, she got a little talk show. So he was sitting on there, he was explaining that question. So mind you, the platform he on, everything he's saying is very authentic. You feel what I'm saying? It's very authentic. So just hear my man. Now we're going to
get... The roles were reversed here. And you had a big following on Twitter, I think, that tuned in to listen to us. For people who might not be too familiar with you, you got 4.2 million followers on Instagram. You have almost 1 million on Twitter. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got where you are right now, Grant.
Yeah, so I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana, a little refinery town in Louisiana, and raised by a single mom. And been working hard, since I was 5 years old. Had some very, very difficult growing up years that set me way back. Turned my life around when I was 25, got on the right track. And then for the last, 30 years, I've been trying to figure out how to be a businessman. So when social media came around in 2000, really 2008, 9, and 10, it started like sprout.
And that's something I wanted to touch on when we talk about social media, because a lot of us older, we pushing 50. I'm pushing 50, baby, 50-50 lifestyle, be looking for that. But, everybody that's 30 and over 30 riding dirty, still trying to get in the game. And speaking on how this social media game at a late age of life, so it's never too late to chase that bag, baby.
At the same time, the economy had collapsed and really hurt my 3 little startup businesses. And I looked at social. A guy said to me one day, I was in LA. I lived in LA for 25 years. We don't live there anymore, but
God bless. Yeah. Good thing you got out.
We left before it was popular to leave. Okay.
Right.
And this guy said, you should get on Facebook. I said, man, look, I'm barely keeping my business alive. I don't have time for Facebook. And he's like, this social media stuff is going to happen. I said, man, BS. I don't have time for this. And when he walked out of my office, I said, you know what? You sound like an old man saying no to something prior to even investing.
Now that's right quick. That's just a nugget for all the old heads out there. All of y'all, that's if you older, but if you in the business, you got a certain something, you got a certain drive, you got a certain thing that you're doing. And social media is where it's at now. It ain't no secret why everybody's starting to flood to the internet. First, they made it like it was a young thing because the youth was already on it. A lot of us, money under the mattress, we did business a different way. So it's really about changing your mind state. And this man changed his mind state and jumped on social media to keep the timeline with the comments that he made. This is where he encountered a lot of us. So just kind of repeat what he said. We're going to put some reference to the statement that he made. Because some of it, I could see why he made that statement, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it shows who you know who you really are. But
that's ignorance, right? So the next day same day, I had a Facebook account and a YouTube account that was 16 million followers ago, and it just exploded my business.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, you just said it. You were raised in Louisiana. I read that you got a degree in accounting.
That's true.
And then you became a car salesman because you needed to get a job. Did you ever think that you would end up where you are today? Was that the goal? I think for a lot of people, especially right now, look, times are tough for so many people, despite what you'll hear about the unemployment numbers out there from the Biden administration. It's tough. Small businesses are having a hard time hiring people. But you obviously had some internal drive that drove you to be successful. Was that sort of always the plan for you?
Well, my dad died when I was 10, and he was a very success-driven guy. He wanted to take care of his family. It wasn't for cars and watches and, I mean, he would have liked to have had some of that, but he was not a
Everybody got
success
their
model, right?
motivation.
And when he died, the income stopped. It's very, very consistent with what's about to happen to middle-class America right now.
Right.
And
now, when they say middle class, it's a question I want you to ask yourself, because a lot of us, you know what I mean, where you at? Are we middle class? Because they're going to explain to you what middle class is. A lot of y'all that really think y'all got money and think you're doing what you're doing, we're going to keep it real, how real y'all want to keep it. Money classifies people. Money's a reality check. Money lets you know where you stand, where you at. That's why we buying the cars, the clothes, the jewelry. That's why I sell merch. That's why I know, unfortunately, black people will spend our last to look good. It's a part of society, but it ain't just us. It's always been inherited since the days that back in Africa, kings and queens, they wore certain guards, wore certain jewels to distinguish themselves from the regular peasants. That's really what money do. It separates and classifies people.
And when I was 10 to 15, I was watching my mom just like struggle. She was so scared. My dad did everything right, Laura. He played by the book. He got rid of all his debt. He worked hard. He saved his money, had life insurance, everything by the book. But when he died,
he said he had life insurance. Life insurance is a must, baby. Because when he gone and that money stopped, you want to at least leave somewhere they can be going the next year. That's why the life insurance policy we get versus the ones they get or the middle class get. You feel me? They getting 200,000-300,000. They playing Cardone and house notes on life insurance policy. Maybe that's the level we got to get to, because that's when you get the real money. But anyway, let's go on.
The income stopped. And when the income stopped, my mom went into fear. She didn't know what to do. Like, she didn't know how to manage the life and raise 5 kids.
Wow.
So I became like obsessed with this idea. Okay, I'm going to be able to take care of my mom one day. I'm never going to let
that
this
was
happen.
his motivation. Like,
and so when I was 25, I had unemployable. Between 15 and 25, I had a drug dealer got a hold of me, and my life went down the tubes. He, when you want a daddy, if you want a mentor, you'll find it. Somebody will be your mentor.
He'll fill the void. Yeah,
exactly. And he did. And he became my dad and a replacement because my uncles didn't step up. They had their own problems going on.
Like you say, now, see, this is where he identified, when white people go through drug problems for some reason, they identify with us, which, because it puts them in that world. It puts them in the street world. It puts them in the hustle world. It puts them in that world that we dominate. So when they get in that world, and in that world, he probably was mistreated for so long. You know what I'm saying? In that world, he probably was, for whatever. So could it have gave you a certain whatever, but then it could have gave him a connection to those people because he was going through the trenches with them. He was going through that time. And he was around those crowds, which was, we dominated, control those areas. So
25, I cleaned my life up, and I'm like, I got to get back on track here. I got to get back on track. I need to go back to the original plan was to be successful. It was never to be a drug addict. And so I started rebuilding. The only people that would hire me was a car dealer. I hated sales, but I learned to get great at something I didn't like to do, and I became very, very good at it. And I would end up teaching Ford Motor Company and Nissan and Audi how to sell cars.
No way, really?
Yeah, I would end up.
The dude was a killer salesman.
Changing the way they handled customers. This was all pre-internet, so that you didn't have to go through this 3 and 4 hour painful process to buy a car, which you probably never had to go through.
No,
that's not true. What's interesting is that when I was growing up, I mean, speaking of cars, my dad was one of these people who was dead set on us only owning a car, right? We were never going to lease a car because he would always say that's a waste of money. And so for my whole life,
drop something in the comments. How many people own and how many people lease it? What y'all think about buying a car? Should you not buy a car, buy a car? You got the people with money saying that leasing is a better option. Now we getting into the financial part of how you handling your money.
I grew up until I met my husband thinking like that was the way you do it. And you only buy cars, you never lease them. But I have friends who do both. Where do you stand on that? Being, in the car business at one time?
Nobody should buy a car. You should lease it only for 2 years. Never put any money down on it.
Interesting.
Only 2-year lease. If you can't afford the 2 years, do not do a 3-year lease.
2 years.
Wow. Why? You're always going to go over your mileage?
Well, I mean, if you're driving 50,000 miles a year, the lease is probably a bad idea. But even so, it's probably still cheaper to lease that car. Look, this is what I'm for. I've learned a lot about money watching what my dad did, and I never ever buy anything that I can lease.
Interesting. Well, what about, but even a used?
Now, that's the thing. That goes into renting versus buying too. But we're gonna get into that too. To me, buying is always more from a business perspective. You know what I mean? Rent for cheaper, say you still gonna have to pay regardless each month. So now it's just about how much you want to give up each month. So I understand what they said. Unless you buying cash, most people in the business now. If you buying and flipping houses, like a lot of my guys, shout to my guys thing, my man Chuck guys that's in the G, buying up property like crazy, you know what I'm saying? Doing their thing, you know what I'm saying? My man JMD, you know what I'm saying? Shout to them, JMD Construction, you know. So you got the guys that's doing their thing from a business perspective. Now you can buy you a house, but at the same time, but they buy a lot of them cribs cash at the auction. Y'all know how it goes.
Car you wouldn't buy?
Look, I probably wouldn't buy a car under any circumstance.
This is so fascinating. I'm learning so much. I'm taking notes, Grant, just so you know.
Okay.
And when he say buy, he mean from the standpoint of car notes, stretching yourself out with a car note, tying your money up for years in a car note versus, you know, leasing. Now you're looking at it more from it's like you're getting a rental car. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay.
So we got off on a tangent about cars, but it's so interesting. And I like what you said about how you learned to do something that you initially maybe were uncomfortable doing or didn't enjoy doing. And then you got really good at it. I feel like there are so many places in life where we can all take a note from that sort of thinking, because look, there's stuff that happens to all of us that you're like, God, I really so good at it that these companies were like, hey, why don't you come give us a few notes of our own?
It's crazy, but everything that I have resisted ends up being some door that I need to walk through. Opens up to some possibilities.
So when you hear the man talk,
and like the social media.
That's when the brothers start listening.
The social media thing. When the first time I saw social media, I was 54 years old. Okay, 10 years ago, I had no father.
Now, mind, first time he said he got on the internet, and he had already made money. So for a lot of us, kind of shunning the idea of a lot of the older people that's coming to the, because we come, you better get here if you're trying to get some money. But he was 54. Yo, I'm 40, I'm 49. So he's showing you it's still time is of essence, baby. So you still got time to get your grind. You know what I'm saying? 54, he just got on the net.
Followers. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't grow up in that age. Like your son, it's normal and natural to your son.
Well, it will be. He's only 5, but
he's probably already a TikTok killer.
Oh my God. My father-in-law would have my head if I let anybody on TikTok in my house.
That's Trump's doing.
He told us a long time ago the Chinese are spying on us that way. But that's pretty cool.
They thought they let Trump.
You were like, let me just go in and see what happens here.
Yeah, and I said, I started an account, and when I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, this is unregulated. At that time, it was completely unregulated.
Yeah.
I can use it as much as I want. It doesn't cost anything, and I can say anything I want to anyone.
And imagine he talking about 2008, 9, and 10. This is when social media was really just popping. You know what I'm saying? And people was really just getting into the groove. So a lot of us now that it's getting monetized, it's solidifying. Now it's the thing to do. Now a lot of people starting to get in now. But some of the people that you see with the success now, they kind of caught the wave, but was in tune a few years before. But it's gonna get there.
And so I'm kind of like
drop some in the comments. Let me know what you think about your man Cardone so far. You know what I mean?
I'm an educator. I like educating people. I was bored in school. I thought education could always be more entertaining and fun. A fun way to teach people things, how to do something, quickly. Mm-hmm. And so
that's why we educate and entertain here at Teach for Life 219 TV, baby. You know what I'm saying? Edutainment. But preach, boy.
I went on social media and I just started playing with these platforms, and like it literally transformed my business. We work with thousands of companies.
You got in the background with black people.
Because of that platform, I started educating people on things that I got good at, and people like that. They thought we had 1 million people this week tune in for an event online that was free.
Wow. And it wasn't even the one with Eric Trump, with Laura Trump. I'm just kidding.
But it'd have been 2 million people if I.
So why do you think it is that you translate so well to people? Because people obviously are interested in what you're doing.
Here we go.
Is it because they aspire to be like you, because you are successful and you're not shy about your success? You know, I've seen a lot of the things you've done especially on your Instagram.
Did you cringe at any of them? Like,
well, no, it's funny because the way you do things, I actually think is very tasteful. Some people do them and it's a little like, okay, like we got it.
Yeah.
But I think seeing how you did it, it's very tastefully done. But I do think, is it because you're an inspiration to people and people want to be like you? Why do you think you've had all of the follows on all these social media platforms?
Well, I think that I'm not tasteful half the time. Like, I'm not. I mean, I look at stuff.
Now, he appealing to us. You say we a big part of his demographic, but he admitting to the white girl, I know it's a little, it ain't just style. I ain't tasteful with it. Y'all don't accept it. But this is what they, talk about us. This is how we accept it, because we trying to look for any information to get on. He don't understand, but you just a vessel. We ain't tapped in like that, because we ain't loyal like that. So black people jump off your train quick as they get on.
And I cringe. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting on the top I'm sitting on a Rolls Royce on the.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I'll have to go check that one out.
And I'm literally throwing money, like. So anyway,
he making it rain. He cringe when he have to do that to reach
that's
up.
Not going to appeal
which
to
is
you,
sad,
right?
but true.
There's audiences, and I think the reason we have done well there is because it's very raw, it's fast, it's unedited, it's a little bit in your face. I'm telling people the truth. I'm very similar to your father-in-law in some ways. Unscripted. I'm just gonna lay it out the way it is. If you don't like me for it, no problem.
Well, he's not upset about showing.
But real quick, see, now what they notice is that's how you attract us. Money, cars, flash. They know that's what we attracted to. Because a lot of us in the situation, we've been trying to get it for years. Because I'm attracted. I got it to him. Seeing what he was doing, who was this doing, da. So we already know the psyche of what attracts people. You know what I mean? That's the psyche. So a lot of this financial, these institutions, these companies, and they build business and they market to the psyche of us. That's why your mental situation is real crucial, baby. You got to really know where you stand when you're making these moves. But as we proceed to do it, we do black balling. It's about the psyche. And he catering to the psyche of us.
Showing off the assets that he has. So, there are some similarities there too. What do you think would happen, Grant, if I sat on top of a Rolls Royce and was like just throwing the money out? Like, how do you think that would be received? I mean, people would. I couldn't even imagine the reaction if I did something like that.
Depends on what outfit you wear. So
obviously it'd have to be in a bikini of some variety. I think that's the only way to successfully execute that one. Well, it's just so interesting that's what people really do enjoy. I think they tune in for that sort of thing, right?
There's an audience.
And they go. It's the
There's an audience out there. That's the only way you can stop them, because you're competing with all this other stuff, right?
Yeah, that's true. They want to stop and look at it as they're scrolling through.
That's all people are doing. They're doing this. Just watch yourself move through it. You're just moving through it. So if you don't stop, I never really got your attention. So for us, about half my audience is black under the age of 40. How did
half his audience is black under the age of 40? Mind you, people that's trying to get it. It's a new era. It's a new day. Everybody looking for internet hustles, work from home, and this is this is what he talks a lot about. Now, mind you, he say some stuff. He keeps it. He gives some points. You will learn something listening to the man. I'm gonna keep it 100. We can't take nothing from him. He already rich, so yeah, you can't take nothing from him. I'm trying to get a piece of what he got. You feel what I'm saying? But keep in context. Always they say. You take the message, but you still heed the message. Now, who you getting your message from? So now what he's showing us is, okay, we see where you coming and how you coming now. So it's a little play to what you're doing to enhance his thing. But at the same time, he got to give to get. He got to drop some nuggets. So who give him best to who? But we'll pay for that information quick. And that's really all he's doing. Like anybody else, he just selling that pack on these internet streets, baby.
A white guy attract an audience. Like if I'm out in public and I see a 55-year-old white man or a 25-year-old black kid, the black kid knows who I am. There's like,
wow.
there's a 10 times better chance, 10x, that the black kid knows me. Now, the reason is because we go after that audience and we're talking to them in very street terms, if you will, very not big nomenclature vocabulary.
And the streets set the tone, baby, is what I'm trying to tell you. They come at us in street tone, street vernacular, you know what I mean? They come, but see, y'all don't want to, the ones like us that's really from that, they really got that knowledge. We the ones too that y'all need to tap into, because we know how to communicate to our people as best, especially when you wonder why. It's just a problem when one of they wonder why, but man, he was a dope fiend for some years, so he feel like he's street. When you out there on some dope fiend moves, you just as street as we are.
Larry's, we just keep everything very tight and simple.
And
at the same time,
I don't understand the big
we've had, raised $1 billion in the last 3 years over the internet from accredited.
He's raised $1 billion over the last few years on the internet, catering to these people with these dumbed down skills.
Investors. So we're hitting both bands. They're all on social media. The whole world's there.
I know, it's sort of
everybody
amazing.
on social.
Were you affected in any way? Were you at any time like shadow banned, or did you ever get you were?
Oh yeah, I've been shadow banned on Twitter. Yeah, and they were raising taxes. They were going to go for.
He was shadow banned.
It's just insane, right? And I got to look at these billboards. So I said, we're going to sell.
But I want y'all.
And then I had a gig in Miami. I had built our business. Didn't buy a home. We rented so that we could invest all our money and all the tax savings in California in growing our business. Went from 3 employees to 236 employees.
That's when he moved to Florida.
8.5 years.
Man, he went through his drug stint, you know what I mean?
I say this kind of jokingly, the good old days where, you have a kid who wants to kind of test it out and just one time do something. You do one time and there's fentanyl laced in whatever it is and you're dead.
Forward.
And that's happening across our country right now. It's very scary.
Look, I knew the first time I smoked weed, I didn't want to do it. I did it to fit in. I didn't want to. I knew it was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
If my dad was alive, I would have probably been busy doing something else. But I had this big void in my life, and when there's a void, problems.
Like most people, you get invited.
My wife knows. She's like, do not let Grant get bored, because when I get bored,
so he's still fighting them dope fiend habits. But that's showing
everything in my vicinity. Everything becomes something.
So dope fiend cases, problems, and he's still showing he had to have. He's shaking somewhere. You got to shake your demons, bro, to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? So I respect the man for that. He keep doing what he got to do to keep doing something he don't want to do.
To overcome and win at. So. Yeah. That's one thing. The second thing that I learned was you need, if you want to be financially safe in this country, you have to scale and get big.
Anybody.
Anything in the middle class dream is no longer what it used to be.
Middle class.
Yeah.
What is middle class?
That's a shame.
Need to go to the next level. Once you get to the middle class, you got to figure out how to go to the next level and not be comfortable.
Do you think we ever get back to a place where you can be comfortable at that middle class dream? Because that's how I generally.
That middle class classification check your bank accounts. You know what I'm saying? Now they comparing themselves. Well, she said middle class. Of course, they ain't middle class. We know they in that 1% because she's dealing with Trump. He in that 1% because he deals with those. You know what I mean? But the middle class is over 6 bands on the regular sitting in your account. Anybody that's under that, what y'all talking about, man? We in the hood, we da-da-da-da, we all going. So check yourself right quick. Check your bank account, then check yourself.
I grew up, and so many people that I grew up with fit that category, I think.
Yeah, but it's the middle class was built for banks.
That's it.
Saving money, buying a house, retirement accounts, IRAs, 401ks. These are education, 17 years to go to school to get an.
And check that out, 401ks, education, life nice policies for investments, all that centered with your house and home and that. Now some of us are in the middle class. No shout out. I got a lot of my people I know getting money. They definitely middle class. If they show all their money, they might be in another class, but check it where you at, because this lets you know where you trying to be. What class now? So if you ain't at this level, you got some work to do. Let's get it, baby.
Education. All these are indoctrinations by the big banks and Wall Street to keep people down to suppress them below their
big banks on
potential.
Wall Street, they run it.
And with the internet, you don't need to do any of those things today.
That's true. So we got to just all take it to the next level. It sounds like.
Level up like you have.
Level up.
I don't know that we can we say that? Have I?
He's so stuck trying to, appeal to the black people. He talk about level up. Who we get that from? You feel what I'm saying? So people, we the creators, we the motivators, we the innovators, we the trendsetters. You feel what I'm saying? So any of us pick up these mics, get y'all cameras, do what y'all got to do, get in these YouTube, these Facebook, the Instagram, any platform you can get monetized. But that's the new game. The internet's a new marketing tool. So any entrepreneur that's in the business of marketing yourself in any type of way, whether you're getting money from Facebook, social media or not, you still need to be in these social media streets. It is what it is, because there's a lot of people we're trying to reach with this message. That's why we educate and entertain, baby.
I leveled up. Is that official?
There's never a top level.
I'm still,
like you said,
I still feel like there's room, so I'm gonna keep going. What is one piece of advice you could give someone who is listening to us today that would make an immediate impact on their future, aside from level up and don't do drugs?
She said, all right, that's for the black people.
I would give people money advice, and I would tell people that you need way more money than you're planning on. Nobody's telling you the truth.
Right.
The government's not going to tell you the truth about money because they've given up on any idea that you could actually create more money. So they're going to try to convince you that you should be comfortable with the money and the handouts that they have for you.
There you go.
Take them, and I would try to figure out how to get.
There you go. So it's a structured thing. The handouts, the money, it's the stimulus, to this, to that. Everything is to keep certain people. Your boss will never pay you enough to be his boss or to sit next to him. But at the same time, we at where we at, and it is what it is. So you take what you could get and do what you could do, baby.
The top 1 or 5% earners in the world, not the country, in the world, and anyone can do that, by the way, because I can give you proof of thousands of people, no education, black women, 13-year-old kids that are actually.
I can give you thousands of people, no education, black women, kids. See where he put us at. So we accept it, man. They look at us a certain way. We've been put in a certain category. But hey, baby, we're going to take lemons and turn it into lemonade, baby. We're going to get in where we fit in, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm going to end it on that note right there, man. I'm going to end it on that note. Y'all want to go back, go check out the video, you know what I'm saying? Grant Cardone, I want you to drop something in the comments. What y'all think about my man, Grant Cardone? What y'all feel about how he using blacks for his platform, as everybody else is. No more different than the music industry, no more different than the work industry. You feel me? No different than the streets. You feel what I'm saying? No different than. So it's like, who don't use us to get what they got to get? They show y'all the buying power that we had, the money power that we've had, the innovation that we had. So my thing is this, man. I shout to all my entrepreneurs out there. That's why at Cheats for Life, man, we bring you stocks on the block. We talk about the stock market. On these black balling episodes, we talk about people that's trying to stop the blacks from balling or help the blacks from balling or blacks that's balling. And we flipping the game. Black balling ain't keeping us out the game. You know what I'm saying? It's the blacks that's trying to get in the game. But if y'all see how the whole thing about this, he used EYL. You feel what I'm saying? So what he's saying, that's why these platforms like EYL and I shout to them. I love what they do. I love my man Ian. He from the Midwest. Tap in with a brother. Help me get this money, man. You missed 219 day, Ian. You missed next 219 day. Y'all, let's get that man Ian and some EYL there and talk about, you know what I'm saying, financial literacy amongst us, because that's really what it's all about. So all this is a piece to the puzzle. Take this piece, what he's saying, the financial literacy part, man, and just do what y'all think about Grant Cardone, man. Drop something in the comments, man. Like, subscribe. This is a video because we touch this Cheats for Life, baby. We touch all things concerning life. So, let's get it, man. But I want to know what y'all think about Grant, man. What y'all think about Grant, man? It's him catering to us, because, hey, the way I see it, if he going to give us something that they ain't give you, get it how you live, man. Just, take the message. Don't really heed the messenger.